Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today with Rossware. Just so everyone knows, we will be recording this and it will be available for replay later if you have to hop off or if you join late. Karie, the floor is yours.
Hello and welcome. Nice to have everybody with us. Thank you, Sarah, for that wonderful introduction. I am going to share my, Sarah, it says that you disabled my screen sharing.
I will fix that. 1 second. I didn't mean to. Okay, now can you?
Yes, ma'am, I can. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to share my PowerPoint with you guys. So hopefully you can see that now. And all right, so we are going to talk about barcode scanners in ServiceDesk. And probably one of the biggest questions that we get, especially from newbies who are just starting to use ServiceDesk, is, well, can I use a barcode scanner with it? And the answer to that has historically been, well, yes, but there's not really any need to. And the reason there's not really any need to use a barcode scanner with ServiceDesk is because of the as you type drop-down lists, which make it so it's really fast and easy to just continue to use your keyboard, especially because in most contexts where you might use a barcode scanner, you're also going to be adding additional information. So like, for example, if you're going to put in a part, you're also going to want to add in information about the part and probably the price that you purchased it for. So there's like really limited reasons and places where you would want to use a barcode scanner in ServiceDesk. But I thought that there are some places now that Glade's added that a barcode scanner can actually be really beneficial. So I thought that we would talk about, and I would do a demonstration of how you can use a barcode scanner in ServiceDesk. So those three venues where you might want to use a barcode scanner are to receive special order stock, to use the parts pick management, and to do a periodic inventory of your trucks or the warehouse. If you're going to use the barcode scanners for in your office, or in your warehouses and with your parts, and barcode scanning is also implemented with your technicians on SD Mobile. That's probably the other place that you'd want to use it. But for them, it's really easy because it's built into the iPads or the tablets. So that's a whole different thing. We're actually going to be talking about actual barcode scanners. Okay. So I'm going to show you guys how we're going to do that. And I probably shouldn't unplug that. Anyway, okay, so first thing, a little talk about barcode scanners themselves. If you haven't used one before, they're not inherently magical. They read numbers that have been presented to them in a graphical format. And they don't actually have any other information in them except for the numbers or letters or whatever that they represent. The magic happens when they connect to a database. So that's what we're going to talk about. If you haven't done so already, you might want to have the barcode font installed into your system so that you can use that within ServiceDesk. If you go to the downloads page at rossware.com, you will see that there's an option to download the barcode font. It's a free font. Well, it's a font that Glade paid for a few years ago, so it's free to our users. So you can go ahead and download that and get that installed into your Windows system. If you don't know how to do that, then by all means, connect up with Rossware Tech Support and somebody can help you do that. Once you've done that, then you're going to want to go into F8 and you're going to activate use barcodes. And I'm going to go ahead and change the screen that I'm sharing so you can see my ServiceDesk. So you're going to go into parts management into F8 and you're going to right click up here on this header to get the menu to come up. And then from this menu, you are going to choose, where is it, down here on settings, whether or not to use barcodes on part labels. So you'll just go ahead and come into here and you'll choose to use barcode labels or not. And keep in mind that that is unique to each computer. But once you have that set, then you will get, all right, there we go. get labels that look like these. So these larger labels, those are a Dymo label and they're pretty big, and you can put a part disposition on it. So your technicians can mark on the outside box whether or not they did use the part or whether it was damaged in the box or what happens with it. So it makes it easier for you guys to process it when you get it back. And this is going to be really handy when we start talking about doing the parts pick management. So first of all, we're going to talk about how to receive special order parts. And that's going to be under the special order parts receive shipment process, which is Shift F8. So again, I'm going to switch back to ServiceDesk for my screen share. Okay, so we're looking at ServiceDesk here, and we're going to go into the Shift F8, which is here under Parts Management, Ship Order, Receive Shipment. Once we're in here, we're going to tell ServiceDesk who we have received these particular parts from. You're going to process these one vendor at a time. So we're going to go ahead and choose Marcone from this. And then you're going to insert the invoice number that that these particular parts came in on. So this works better and is more efficient for you should you choose to use this process if you are doing a bulk order from your supplier. So if you're doing, or your parts distributor, so you don't want it to be an invoice number that only represents like one client, so maybe only 5 or 6 parts. You want it to be an invoice that represents a whole bunch of parts, because then it's going to be more efficient. So we'll just make up an invoice number that these parts came in on. Then if you want to filter, so the first thing you can do here, you notice right here, it says receiving location. So this means that I'm checking these particular parts into my office. But if I wanted to, I could put a tech initial there and I can check these parts in directly to the technician. And what I would do when I did that is in this middle section underneath requesting technician, I could filter the list that I'm going to get by the technician who requested the parts to be ordered. That may or not be helpful for you. It depends on how many technicians you guys are checking in parts for. All right. Now, when this is set to manually, I can actually go down and I can choose these items from this drop-down list, and I can just eyeball the list, pick up the part. So I got the box in front of me from the vendor, and I pick up the part and I look at it and I verify that what part it is and which customer it's for. And I can go ahead and just click to select to check this part in. But if I'm using the barcode scanner, I can scan the label that the part came in on. And when I do that, ServiceDesk looks to see, and it fills in this area here on the right-hand side with the part number and a description and which job it's going to be applied to. And then I can go ahead and I can put the cost in for what this is sold for. If I have that information right there in front of me, I can go ahead and put the cost in. If the technician has indicated a sell for price at the time he quoted this or he ordered it, that sell for price is going to stay. It's not going to adjust based on what I tell the system that I actually purchased this for. So that way, if he didn't give them a price quote, then it'll calculate based off the margin manner. But if he didn't give them a quote, if he did give them a quote, it'll always maintain whatever price that he quoted. So then I'm going to go ahead and click here to enter. And then I'm going to go ahead and I can check in the next part, and I can just scan it. And again, the system automatically searches for the part, and I can go ahead and I can put that price in. So I can just move quickly through an entire box of parts with my barcode scanner, just scanning the parts as they come in, and ServiceDesk is going to look and see which jobs that I ordered that particular part for, and ask me if I have more than one of that part for more than one job. It'll ask me which job I'm going to apply it to. In my example here, I don't actually have one of those. Let's see. So we're going to say 250. When we're all done, we're going to go ahead and click down here on the yellow at the bottom. And we can go ahead and say yes. And we can go ahead and print those part labels, so we can put those on the parts, so we can go put them on the shelf or put them in the technician's truck. All right. And if we go back into our parts manager now and we can see that we actually went ahead and checked these parts in today. So that's one aspect where you can use the barcode scanner, and using it there. In my example, I only had 5 or 6 parts, so it may not seem super efficient, especially when you think about that you can come down here and you can use this list and just manually type those in. But what it's doing is it's helping, instead of having to go to F8 and do on order, awaiting arrival, and come in here and check all these parts in individually and making sure that we fill in the dates and the invoice number and the supplier, all that information in here. Instead of doing that one item at a time, by using that special order request processing screen and a barcode scanner, we can process an entire order all at once, and we can check in all of those parts all at one time with just a couple clicks of the barcode scanner and of our mouse. So that is one way that you can use the barcode scanner. Do we have any questions on that one? Not seeing any questions in the chat. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to switch back here to the PowerPoint. So the next place where you can do this at, oh, now I see a question. Yes, Dan, go ahead. If you enter the cost beforehand when the part is ordered. Yes, I did. So when I went from the scenario that my technicians, will it save the cost? Yes, it will go ahead and put the cost in. It just won't calculate it. So correct. Yep. So it's putting all that information into the system for you to be able to, here, let's go back to here for you. Give me just a second here. I gotta switch the view back. Sorry about that. Okay, so if you look at this screen right now, hopefully you can see that. We're looking in F8 again, and I chose to view processes that were complete. And the 3 parts that I checked in are, well, you can see the 2 right here in the middle. So this one right here, this is the PO number, the invoice number that we just checked that part in. And so this particular part, the technician, when he quoted this customer, he quoted them $17.98. So when I put that I checked the part in at a cost of $3.98, it did not change this price costing at all. So I'm going to just, as an example, I'm going to take this Smith job here below, and I'm going to delete out this pricing. So normally when you're checking in a special order part and you put in a cost, ServiceDesk is going to automatically calculate what the price should be, the sell for price, based on your margin markup planner. If the technician has quoted the customer a certain amount, so in his SD mobile or in his post-visit report, he's indicated that, hey, I quoted the customer $34.86 for this part, then when I check that part in, if it is more or less than the $34.86, it won't change that because that's what he quoted them. The cost will accurately reflect what you actually purchased it for, but the sell for price won't adjust. So hopefully that answered your question. All right. So next we are going to talk about the parts pick management screen. Does that includes the barcode? Yes, that's included in the barcode check-in process. So when I'm in that barcode check-in process, so I'm going to go back to this real quick. We'll go back to Marcone. We'll put in an invoice number again. We'll give this thing a couple seconds there we go. Okay, so let's say I'm going to check in Whoops. Sometimes you escape too far out of Glade screens. All right. All right, so I don't have a part to check in that matches this particular one. So let me scan the next one I have on here. Okay, there we go. So like, here's this gear case. I don't have a sell for price here. So when I enter the cost for it, ServiceDesk is going to calculate that for me automatically. And it's going to enter both the cost and the sell for into the F8 so that it'll be available for the technician when he goes to sell that part. I'm not gonna worry about that right now. On the other hand, if I do this other part, that one's already been checked in. There we go. This one, do you see how it has a sell for of $88.33? If I go ahead and put the cost in, even if I say that the cost was $57.12, it still is not going to adjust that sell for price. That sell for price is going to stay at the $88.33 that the technician indicated on his estimate that we were quoting the customer. All right, I'm not going to print labels right now. So now if we go back into F8, you have to enter the cost even though the cost was entered prior. Oh, you're saying if the cost, I'm sorry, I misunderstood the question. You're saying if the cost was entered here in this column, do you have to enter the cost again? I don't think so. I'm not aware. I don't know who is going in and indicating cost in these prior to actually getting the final invoice. I test that. And I think I might have checked in all my parts that I set up for this. Let's see. So let's see if we can reset this to test your question. I'll delete that. We'll delete that. We'll delete that. Okay, so your question is, if we indicate here that this has a cost of $14 or $15, and we're just going to round this up and we're going to say it has a sell for of $45. So this is the gear case. Oops. Barcode. Oops. It helps if I have my focus in the right place. Okay, it did not bring that cost over. So if that's something that you guys are checking ahead of time, and that's important for you to be able to have stuck in there automatically, double check with Glade, because if this, from what I can see here, it's not bringing over that cost, and it is a mandatory field in order to be able to check it in. Okay. All right. You're very welcome. I'm glad we were able to troubleshoot that for you. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the parts pick management. So the parts pick management screen, in case you're not familiar with it, is where you can choose your technician and you can see his route for the next day, and you can see which parts that you've assigned to him previously that he has not returned to you, and which parts that you have that he needs to take with him for his jobs for the following day. So in this case, we're looking at Kenton, and Kenton has these 4 parts here that he needs to return that he didn't use on his original job. And then we have 3 parts that we need to give to him for his roster for tomorrow. So with the barcode scanner, you can click here and toggle this to green. And when you toggle that to green, you are able to do the same thing like we did before. You're going to use the barcode scanner, and you can go ahead and, let's see here, scan that part, and ServiceDesk will automatically go ahead and mark it that it's in your possession now. So it toggled it to red to indicate that you have that part from the technician. So when he brings you a whole bucket of parts, you don't have to like scroll down this list and find all the things that he has brought back to you. You can literally just take your barcode scanner and scan the parts that he brought to you in his basket, or however it is that you got these particular parts back from him. I think I said basket, not gasket. Anyway, okay, so now you'll notice here that he has 2 gaskets that he's supposed to be returning for 2 different invoices. One of them is for invoice 163 and one of them is for invoice 165. So ServiceDesk says, hey, which of these is he returning to you? Because that might be important. Depending on the job, it might be important for you to make sure that you are returning the part from the appropriate job. So hopefully you've got a label on there where you can double check which invoice that the part's coming back from, and you could go ahead and select this. If, however, you don't care about making sure which particular job that this gets applied to, you can check this box right here where it says auto choose in a multi-match situation. And if you check that box, then ServiceDesk, I don't know what the method is behind it, but ServiceDesk will pick one of these 2 to apply the part to, and without having to stop your flow of scanning objects. So you can just go ahead and mark them. So we could go ahead and we can scan the switch. Come on there. It is important. You may have noticed that if your focus is not where the ServiceDesk is expecting it to be, then all it does is read that barcode when you scan it. So my focus is up here where the technician's name is, and that's where it scanned that barcode to, instead of being down here in the context of where I wanted it to be and scanning the job or the part, excuse me. So that is one disadvantage of the barcode scanners, is if you click out of the place where you expect it to be, then you got to make sure that you click back into it. But again, if you're doing a whole bin full of parts, this is ultimately could be a faster process for you. Once we're all done with this and we've marked this, we'll go ahead and we'll change these ones to gray because we're not going to process those right now. Then we can switch over here to this other panel and we can go ahead and get him the job, mark out these parts for him so that he can do this job tomorrow. And here again, we get another notice right here. It says, hey, he has 2 of these for this particular job. Are you actually moving 2? So if I'm not actually giving him both of those parts right now, let's say for some reason I only gave him 1, I would want to say no. But otherwise, ServiceDesk is watching your back to make sure that you are giving him both of the parts that he needs. Okay. Oh, sorry, Bill. I will try to do better about making sure that we're reading the whole question. If you have multiple techs that return parts and they are not separated by tech and you scan them, does the barcode know what tech may have had it? In this particular context, Jerome, I believe you have to select the technician that is, and then choose right here, did you acquire these from KA? That would be an interesting thing to discuss with Glade, though, as to whether or not if you had a just big old stack of parts, if ServiceDesk could use this whole auto choose multi-match thing and maybe make that a little bit more streamlined for you. You have a number of technicians that maybe you just get a big old pile of parts and you're trying to figure out where they are coming from. Is that the question? Okay. Yeah, I can see how that would be problematic if they're not sorted out by technician when they come into you. We should do some brainstorming on how that could be a little bit easier, because I could see the problem would be that if you have a whole pile of them, maybe what it could, here's an idea. Think about this. What if you scanned it and it searched and gave you and said, instead of saying, hey, there's 2 jobs associated with this part, it could say, hey, there's 3 texts associated with the part. That may be a way you could do it. I'm not sure. That's a good question. Okay, we're going to finish scanning these. Or not. So there's a lot of difference in quality of scanners. Just so you know, there's you can get them for as cheap as like $30 off of Amazon, and you can get them for as expensive as like $150. From my experience, the difference are whether or not they can read either a 1D barcode, or whether or not they have capability of reading barcodes that have like some damage to them. Also, whether or not they can read QR codes. So you don't need anything that's super crazy expensive. If you have one that's Bluetooth, then it's convenient because you're not necessarily right there tied to your computer. You can walk over to a shelf and you can go ahead and do scans. Some of the problem with that can be that there are some parts of the screens in ServiceDesk that you do have to interact with. Like, for example, when you have to interact with the, to put in the cost of the part. But for the most part, there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of advantages to being able to do it this way. So once we're all done here, indicating which of these parts we're transferring to Kenton, we can go ahead and click on record movements here as indicated. And when we do that, ServiceDesk will go ahead and make the appropriate notations either in the special order parts screen or in your stocking inventory, indicating that those parts have been taken out of Kenton's possession and are now in the office's possession. All right. So the next place that we're going to talk about where it's helpful to use the barcode scanner is when you are processing truck or warehouse inventory. So if you're not already using the master parts plan, this is kind of where this would start to come into play. Not necessarily, and I'm going to show you why it's not necessarily, but in combination with what I'm going to show you and the master parts plan. So what's important here is most people, when they get ServiceDesk, if you come into the master parts plan, which remember is your template for how you want ServiceDesk to manage your inventory as far as what parts do you want to have in your warehouse and on your trucks at any given moment, how many of that particular part do you want to have, which bin location is it stored in, all that information is here in the master parts plan. In the master parts plan, though, if you click here on other housekeeping, it is normally under set sorting scheme. It's normally sorted in this standard type, which means that it's sorted by machine type and then by description and then make. So all of your dryer parts are together. All of your washing machine parts are together. That's how it's typically sorted. For what we want to do, we want to resort our inventory, at least temporarily, by part number. So we're going to click in here on part numbers and we're going to stick in a password. And we just resorted everything by part numbers. So if we come into here and we do review existing inventory and we view a raw inventory list, everything should be in here by part order, which appears to be what it looks like. Okay, perfect. So then the next thing that you're going to do is you are going to get your barcode scanner. And one cool thing about barcode scanners is that a lot of them come with different modes. So you can do a continuous mode where it just constantly scans anything that it comes across. You can do it where you have to pull the trigger in order to scan it. But in order to change its modes, usually you have to have a book. Oh boy, there we go. A book or a card. And the book or the card is what you scan in order to change its modes. So for the purposes of, if you just wanted to scan stuff and put it into the system for, like, if you were checking in the parts, then you have it in a an instant upload mode, basically is what it's called. So I'm going to switch to, you know what, I'm just going to show you here. We're going to go into the extra notes section of this call sheet. And basically, if I were to just sit here and scan, every time I scan and it reads a barcode, it doesn't matter what I'm reading, it's sticking that barcode into the system. Okay, everybody can see that? Okay, so it's just sticking it in there every time I scan a barcode, which is convenient if I'm close to or next to a computer. But if I'm going to go inventory my warehouse or a truck, then I might want to use what's called storage mode. And I know you guys can't see this, but there's a little UPC or a little barcode there, a QR code style barcode that I'm going to scan, and it's going to put the barcode scanner into storage mode. Now I want to make sure that there's nothing in the memory before I get started. So then I'm going to scan this other little QR code here that says clear data. So I'm going to clear the data. So now I have a barcode scanner with nothing in its memory. So if I were going to go out to my truck and inventory my truck, I'm going to open up Excel and share the screen with you guys. And this is the part that you could use with a barcode scanner, whether or not you have ServiceDesk or not. So I'm going to go ahead and share my Excel. We're going to Okay, so I'm going to go out to my truck. I'm going to take my barcode scanner with me, and I'm going to go and pick up a bin of like items. Let's say you guys have a bunch of gaskets and they're all kind of tied together, tossed together in a single bin. And normally if you were going to do an inventory, either in ServiceDesk or really anywhere, you're going to have to like sort through that bin and find all the like gaskets and put those together and be like, okay, I have 5 of that gasket. And then you're going to have to put the next like gasket together and count that and be like, okay, I have 3 of those. With the barcode scanner, on the other hand, you can literally pick the gasket up and scan it. So you pick it up and you scan it. You're like, okay, I have 3 of those. So you scan it 3 times, or you scan 3 of them and you set them aside. And by setting them aside, you know that you've counted those particular gaskets. Then you're going to pick up the next ones and you're going to be like, okay, I got that one and that one. Come on, scan for me. There we go. And you're literally just going to go through your truck scanning each item that you have. If you have 3 of them, you're going to scan it 3 times. If there's 15 of them, you're going to scan it 15 times. However many of those particular things you have, you're just going to scan them. And in the meantime, this little barcode scanner is putting all of those scans into its memory. Once those are all in its memory and you go back to your computer and you're into, say, Excel here, what you're going to do is you're going to take that little QR code and you're going to scan upload data. And when I scan upload data, do you guys see that Excel spreadsheet? It just instantly put in there every single thing that I scanned. Just boop, 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 boop. And I could do 10 items or I could do 1,000 items, depending on the memory of your barcode scanner. I think this barcode scanner has a memory of like 2,500 things. So I could scan like an entire section of the warehouse, or I could scan a relatively probably normal sized van. Once I've done that, then in Excel, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select this column. So I went ahead and selected column A by waiting until my little arrow there changed solid. And I'm going to change this to number. And I'm going to remove any decimals that are on there because I don't want it to be decimals. But I want to make sure that it sorts correctly. So then I'm going to choose to sort right here where it says A to Z and it's got that little filter. I'm going to click that and I'm going to sort it. So I'm going to sort it in order. Why are you not sorting? There we go. It's trying to make a liar out of me. Custom sword. All right. Why is Excel making me a liar? All right. After you get it sorted, then you're going to do, you're going to go to your data and you're going to do subtotals. Okay, and we're going to do a count. And basically what will happen is ServiceDesk will do a count at every change in part number. And then I can go ahead. I'm going to click here on 2, which is going to minimize my actual data there. So basically what I have now here is part number 43-0151 has a count of 3. Part number 103907 has a count of 1. So having that information, I can take I can go to ServiceDesk. We're going to go back to ServiceDesk. And we're going to go into our inventory, which is F10. And we're going to go adjust indicated quantities. And then we're going to do by reviewing the entire list. And we're going to choose Kenton's truck. So when we choose Kenton's truck, we now have the parts that are on here. And they'll be sorted in the same order as our Excel spreadsheet so that I can literally just look at my Excel spreadsheet and I can look at part number and be like, okay, this part he has 1. So I'll go ahead and adjust it and be like, he's got 1 of those, and I'm just going to hit enter. And then it moves down to the next item, the 1240012, and it says that he has 1 of those. So I hit enter and I move down 33. He doesn't have any of that one. Move down to the next one. And I'm just going to go down this list, comparing my spreadsheet to this list and adjusting Kenton's quantities as I move down the list. So he's got 3 of this one. When I'm all done, I'll just go ahead and hit escape to record my entries, and I'll say yes. ServiceDesk will do a resort. And now when I go back into Kenton's inventory, I can see that it's been adjusted for these, like the pressure switch. It now shows that he has 3 of those. And so by using the barcode scanner, and again, the quality of your barcode scanner is going to determine how easily this is or not. I don't know that I made a very good choice on this one that I purchased off of Amazon. I think I might return it and try a different one. But you can go back and forth between the spreadsheet and ServiceDesk, and you can put your inventory in here without having to have a bunch of paper or cards or anything. The nice thing about the barcode scanner is that you can, you can do a section and then you can pick it up later and continue on, because it's going to keep those barcodes in the memory until you clear them out again the next time. So, all right. Wow, this is the first one I've got done, Sarah, that I've been done early. I thought that this content would take longer than it did. Does anybody have any other questions about this that I can answer? I asked Glade if there was a method to upload from the Excel spreadsheet. Is that possible instead of adjusting it manually? At this time, as far as I know, that is still not a possibility, Kevin. So Kevin's question for everyone is whether or not there was possible to upload from this Excel spreadsheet that we created instead of having to go back into F10 and adjusting it here instead of going back into here and adjusting the inventory. And as far as I know, that there's not currently an option. Excuse me. Excuse me. But we are in the middle of moving the database for parts into a different system. So the underlying database that keeps track of your part inventory will, trying to remember what they're moving it into, but it'll be a different database system, which I think might be a lot easier and might more easily accommodate something like that, Kevin. Although currently, I don't believe that's an option. Anybody else? So just so you know, in case you're curious, this one that I got off of Amazon is called Terra. It's a TEAR model 8100. It's a Bluetooth, and it's wireless with Bluetooth as well. And I don't know, it doesn't seem to have a very sharp barcode reader. Like the line itself, when it goes to read the barcode, is kind of fuzzy. So I don't think that it's a super great model. Just so you know, if I don't recommend this one. A little off subject, but does location recording in F8 is a chain of custody history available in a log or something to show that a part was on shelf XX. Next, it was in bucket Y, next ZZ, and then it came back as the office. I actually can't answer that question, but I can ask and find out. I feel like there might be a one of those underlying part logs that tell you that, but I do not have a specific answer for that one. I'm sorry, but I will find out. So we're looking for a part log for movement, correct? F10. All right, so you're talking about F10 and then U and then the part number. So F10 plus U and the part number. Mention the feature for uploading is via barcode-based input file. F10 plus U and then the part number is where you can check to see parts in usage. So parts in usage tells you who and where a part has come from and to. So like, for example, this particular part that we're looking at, we can read through here and we can see that our first acquisition of this particular part was in August of 2018, and it went from initial stock inventory to office, and there was 3 of those, and we acquired them at $40.33 each. And then the next time we had that part was on 2/13/2020, and it went from SC, which stands for stock correction. So it went from stock correction to Kenton. And then we can see that Kenton sold 1 to invoice number 0077 on the same date. And then this next one is the stock correction that we just did today. So I don't think that this particular view, the F10 plus U plus the part number, is this just tells you how the part got moved around, which is not quite what Jerome's looking for. From what I understand, he wants to know like the whole chain of custody, which would be when we're in F8, for example. So when a part comes in, let me see here. when a part comes in, it gets the technician and assigned to a technician, it gets the technician's initials right here. So this particular part shows KA as being in possession of this particular part. If Kenton indicates that this part was like the pre-diagnosis was a miss, right? So if it says that for whatever reason he didn't use it, then that part would need to come back to the office, and this KA would get erased out of here, and it would go back to being OF. So it would indicate that the possession left Kenton and went to the office or whichever warehouse you assigned it to. If you assigned a different technician, so let's say Kenton didn't use it because there was a pre-diagnosis was a miss, customer complained, and you sent a second technician out, and let's say this second technician was DS, then when DS goes out, this would change and it would say DS. And then if he actually uses the part, it'll say DS plus the date that he used it. So I believe that that is the chain of custody that that Jerome's looking for. JD, why does your thing say Jerome? I just realized, I was like, I know who that is. But we can also ask Glade what is meant by this barcode based input file. I'm not sure. Do we know specifically which context that's in? If that's in the master parts plan or if that is in F10 when you're actually checking in inventory? Daniel, this video will be available through USAA, or wait, you guys aren't USAA still, are you, Sarah? Sorry. Anyway, it'll be available through United Servicers. All right. So barcode based input file. I can find out about that. What context specifically that applies to. You're welcome. Okay. All right. Anything else? Let's see. Does anybody have any other questions about like how to do that sorting and accounting in Excel? Is everybody good on that? Like I said, even if you're not using ServiceDesk, that can be pretty handy just to be able to sort that Excel spreadsheet and be able to do a count or a or like a subtotal, either one.
Anyone?
Yeah, I'm not. I feel like Bueller.
I was going to say Bueller, and then I thought, my heck it. Well, thank you so much for your time. And if anyone has questions, they can reach out. They can send them to us and we'll forward them to you. Or if they want to reach out to you directly, can you share your email address one more time?
Sure. It's, well, I mean,
whoever's you want to share.
Technically, if you guys need assistance, you should reach out to Rossware directly for tech support. If you want on-site training or something, you can reach out to me, but and I can put my email in here for that.
But for Rossware, like if they need support.
Rossware, yeah, for tech support, you should reach out to Rossware.
Okay, perfect.
But if you're interested in having anybody come on site and do any kind of training, then you can definitely reach out to me and I can see if we can do something about that.
Set that up. Awesome. Perfect. Yes, support at rossware.net. Thank you, Ken.
It's always nice to know when I have lurkers.
He's there to help.
Is he? I didn't hear him answer this question about the part. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
We didn't give him speaking rights. We blocked him. He says he tried.
Well, let's see. Telegram. Oh, you messaged me? See, I've been ignoring Telegram because I'm in a
webinar.
I'm in a webinar. So why would I be on my, all right, what did Glade say? There is an inventory correct. Okay. Kenton says there is an inventory correction file. Hold on. Let me read this real quick, guys. Oh, look at that. See, look, I'm doing a training on barcodes and I missed something. All right, hold on. We're going to show you guys real quick. Share screen. Okay. All right. So if you go back into your F10, and then you're going to go into adjust indicated quantities and this via barcode based input file. This will, whoops. This will, let's see, you're going to do two columns. Your first column is going to be the quantity and the second column will be the part number. Right click and it gives the instructions. Perfect. Thank you. All right, there we go. So basically you're going to make like the column, you can make the file basically like what I made. And then you'll come here and you can import. So I guess that's pretty awesome. I forgot that that was there, honestly. Thanks, Kevin, for helping point us in that direction. Does anybody have any questions about this particular thing? No? Okay. Kenton also answered our question regarding, JD, he answered your question. He says the whole location change is logged. It is not in something that is easily accessible by you, which means that if you suspect you have a problem with parts going missing or something, you can reach out directly to Rossware and they can help you analyze that log. All right. Do we have any other questions that we can get Kenton to ask Sir while he's on here?
Maybe we should have Kenton tag team with you.
You know, if I'd known he was there, I would have asked him a while ago. All right. All righty. Well, I guess we will call it an evening then. Well, an evening for me anyway.
Where are you?
East Coast.
Oh, I thought you were west.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, it's evening. I mean, it's 4 o'clock. It's pretty close here.
It's pretty close.
It's pretty close. Yeah.
Close for all of us.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much.
Isn't Kenton west? So he's got a few hours.
Kenton is west. Yeah. So if anybody wanted to follow up with Kenton on this.
Yeah. It's like lunchtime for him.
Available.
Yep. Well, thank you everyone for joining. I hope everybody learned a lot and got their questions answered. And if not, you can reach out to Ken privately, or you can reach out to Karie if you need more training on site. Thank you, Karie. We'll see you again soon. And
sounds good.
We look forward to it.
All righty. Thanks so much,
everybody. Have a great day.
You too.
Yep.